Hello everyone, and welcome to another session of Dark Souls PvP. I'm here on a new build. It is a turtle build. It is purposely spelled wrong, courtesy of Rosie. Now this wasn't an idea that the two of us had, not this video specifically, not what I'm doing in it. We were supposed to be doing some trolling with turtle builds, and we never really got around to it. So I've had this build left over for a little while, and decided to have some fun with it in the meantime. So I've been playing around with Havels Greatshield, using it in two hands, you know, like right here to push people, just for the fun. I actually had a lot of fun in Lucille on the elevators. I highly suggest trying that, doing a plunging attack on an elevator that's coming up, not one that's coming down, or going down, because you can't catch that, you'll die. There's no chance, you'll die. But if you go and do it on one that's coming up, your shield will just push him down and knock him off the side. Yeah. Anyway, Havels Greatshield. The reason I'm using it is because of the buff. And, hold on a second. Right here, listen. That little splash noise. Sorry, that's what I wanted you to hear. I just think that's somewhat amusing. A little detail I didn't know was in the game. So, the main point, Havels Greatshield and the buff that it gives. Now, I'm sure most of you, like me, when you first put on the shield, you're like, oh my god, the shield is amazing, it blocks so much. And then you accidentally hit R2, or not R2, but L2, because it's, you know, shield. And you're like, what the hell is this? It doesn't shield bash, it gives you this rocky, like, look. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the best buffs in the game. It gives you poise. It gives you deflections. Like, by that I mean enemies' attacks will deflect off of you. And it doesn't slow down your movement. And that is really, really good. Those are three big things right there. Because Iron Flesh, it doesn't give you poise, but it gives you the deflection. And it slows down your movement a ton. Obviously, you can't roll at all with it. With this, you can fast roll. The Wolf Ring gives you poise. This also gives you poise. It's temporary versus permanent when you're wearing the ring, but this gives you more options. Yeah, it's just a really, really good buff overall, in my opinion. And it's really not very commonly used. So I decided, you know, I should definitely try and play with this a bit. And I have no idea why I didn't try it sooner. My god. I thought I liked Iron Flash, but it just doesn't compare compared to this. Like, if I could remake my builds that use Iron Flash to use this, I would do that in a second. My god, this buff is just so good. Like, I'm still kind of in shock over how good it is and how uncommon that this is. Now, the one thing about this build, I made it so I could actually use the shield. So, in hindsight, if I was going to be doing this again, I would have made it so I would have to two-hand the shield to use the buff. Because I'm pretty sure that works with probably about like 34 strength, 35 strength, maybe 36-ish, I don't know. I'm not a calculator, I can't figure out the exact percentage that it goes down to when you're two-handing it. Either way, that's definitely less than 50, which will give you more options. It's only a level 100, so it's definitely worth in my opinion, it's definitely worth checking out. And I'd probably redo it at some point later in time, but that's just me. So, just sort of getting at it, using the Leo Ring and the Balder Side Sword, which is something I've never really cared for. I don't know why, I just never cared for the Balder Side Sword much. Now, right there is something interesting. When you put on the buff, you put the shield in front of you. And I didn't expect to actually block his attack when I put the shield in front of me. And he actually kind of surprised me. I did something stupid and I left my room, left the game running, just was like, oh, whatever, I'll be fine. Came back and he was right there coming up at me, so I was like, oh god, oh god. But, oh well, lesson learned. Something I should know by now, but apparently don't. So yeah, I'm using the Balder Side Sword with the Leo Ring, and going for those pokes, because it's got a very powerful attack. Now, I don't really care for this weapon very much. I really don't. Yeah, it's got a long reach, it's okay with damage, its speed is great, but I don't know, just something about it I don't really care for. I definitely like the Sunlight Straight Sword better for some reason. Maybe it's just because I like the way it looks better, maybe the fact that it actually, I don't know. The sword, it doesn't look very, I don't know what it is about it really. I just don't like it. That's really the only explanation I can give. I just don't like it. So, I invaded these guys, and I interrupted their duel. Oops. So, I wait back here for them, and the host is waving at me, the other phantom's like, come on, let's fight, all anxious, bows to me. So I give him a bow back, and the host actually summoned another guy. I was thinking, hey, we could have a 4-way free-for-all, that'd be pretty fun, but I end up going for two-on-twos. And right there, the shield push actually was very helpful. I really have been liking shields. They're really something you don't see very often, and it does have its uses. Because if you use the push at the right time, then you can actually block the attack with it and push them back. Doesn't do any damage, but if you get the timing right for it, it works pretty well. The same goes for a shield bash. Actually, you can actually block the attack with a shield bash and hit them. So we got this guy who comes in. I wave at him. He does the well, what is it? Being all cocky like. So I decide to have a little bit of fun, and he's just backing up, shield up, turtling, which is really what this build should be doing, and I get him with the backstab. Not exactly sure how, but whatever. Not really sure how. So I'm trying to go get on the side of him so I can dead angle him with it, because I don't want to backstab him again, because I don't need to do 2-in-1 fight. That's just kind of overkill. But I end up getting him when he drops his shield. So I put on my buff for this guy, because I already see that he's got Power Within on. And right there, that was close. If he had gotten one more swing off, I would have been finished. But yay for spamming the attacks. Yay, it works sometimes. In some cases, it's really best to just spam the attacks, in my opinion. Because, yeah, it's nice and looks a lot more better. It looks a lot cleaner, it looks a lot better if you don't spam the attacks and actually, you know, make it look a bit skillful, but that's not how it's always going to end up. Ah, can't talk. The lag on that last fight, that was the worst I've ever had. Like, seriously, that was just bad. So, one thing I'm noticing about this buff is that I'm actually having a lot of trouble parrying attacks. Now, I'm not exactly sure why I'm having trouble parrying them. I think it's because it's actually bouncing off before it gets close enough for me to parry. I don't really know. I'd have to probably slow it down a bit and study it a bit and stuff, which I really don't feel like doing. If any of you have had a similar experience with it, then let me know what you think about it. So this guy, he puts on his soul mass and he just backs off. I'm wondering what he's doing. And he's trying to get me over there so the trees can get at me. And I don't want to play that game. So I just keep backing up, flipping around, or jumping around. He's flipping. I don't flip. So I get him with a couple pokes. He goes to switch weapons and lets me get behind him for the backstab because he's being annoying. And all of his flippiness, magic casting, trying to get me into a 3-on-1 situation. Nothing I really feel like dealing with. And, oh well, we get the double KO. Oh well, no big deal. So, this buff, I didn't really know actually at first that it gave you a boost to poise, and actually what made me notice it is when I started to record the audio for this. I noticed in the top left corner where it shows what sort of boosts you have, it showed the one for showed the little armor, which is the wolf ring. So I'm like, hey, this gives me poise. But I don't actually think that it shows you how much poise that you're given if you go into your stats. I don't think it actually does. So if anyone knows of any testing that's been done on this, please let me know, because I'm curious how well this does, because I didn't get staggered from a two-handed greatsword hit right then, and I only have 15 poise, or 12 poise, or some odd amount of poise like that, with just the armor regularly. And actually right here, this is why I love Havels Greatshield. So what was that about? Dark magic being overpowered? I mean, come on. I think now that people are realizing how to dodge it, and it's not that bad to dodge, they're realizing that it's not that overpowered, because it's got a slow starting cast time. I mean, pursuers take forever. You can just throw something at them while they're working on it, and they won't have much of a chance. So right here, this guy, he was hiding somewhere in here. I'm not exactly sure where, but I guess that's a good strategy for him, and he gets me with the backstab, which takes out a good chunk of my health. But on this build, I actually got lower health than most of my others. I think on this one I've only got about 1100-ish. Usually I like to stay around the 1500 range. And this is actually a bit of a challenge for me, being at lower health, because you really have to focus on dodging more, which is great, because it's good practice, but it's hard because of the playstyle I'm going with the buff that I'm using. I want their attacks to deflect off of me. And right there I learned you can't block and push up pyromancy. So, yeah. Oh well. And right there, actually, my controller was acting funny up until this point, so I think I know why. It happens. That's okay. I mean, I'm not blaming it on the controller. I messed up in that fight. Obviously, I messed up. But that probably wasn't helping anything. So, let's see. No, that's not the right screen for it anyway. So his attack deflected, and that barely did any damage that first time. I don't know what was going on with that. So he tries to get around me, and I counter backstab fish, which, yeah. Counter backstab fishing, it's really the best thing in PvP that I've ever learned how to do. It really is. So we've got this guy again, using his same strategy, and pretty much goes the same way, except I don't mess up this time. And, you know, he tries to run away from me, so I'm like, no, you're not running. So he keeps trying to run away from me, and I don't feel like dealing with him at this point, so I go around for the second backstab just so he doesn't start spamming his combustions, because people have a habit of doing that, and I just didn't feel like dealing with it. So we've got this guy again, and right there I got him with the push, and I thought he was about to fall off the edge. That would have just been great. And he gets me, but really can't do much against Havels Greatshield. So right here, the tree comes and it gives me time to put on my buff, so that was lucky on my part. And I don't know what happened with his roll. I don't know why it didn't really go anywhere. I mean, I guess I was kind of in the way, but I don't know. It was kind of weird. And I don't know what happened with him at this point. Maybe his controller died? I don't know. Felt kind of bad, but whatever. So. Oh, man. This guy, I spent 15 minutes trying to find this guy. I have no idea where he was. But that's a whole other story. That doesn't matter. So with this fight, actually made me realize that the Uchigatana and also the whatever it's called, the washing pole, they have thrust attacks. So that kind of makes me want to try this build out with the two of them. And I'll probably get to that at some point. But, you know, I don't really like katanas either. Really, I don't like the Balder side sword. I don't like katanas. I don't really mind the rapier and the S-stock. The curved blades are not really... I don't like them either. I don't really like those either. Really, the only dexterity weapons I kind of like are the S-stock and the rapier. And the shotl is okay. The shotl is alright. But, I don't know. Now this guy right here, I thought he was away, so I was just coming up to him and I was just going to push him. And I didn't expect this at all. He was not away. He was waiting for me to just be there, all unexpected, like, all in my false sense of security. And he just... yeah. I did not expect that. So that's definitely a good strategy. I mean, I was being a bit cautious with it. And I probably shouldn't have been. I probably should have just gone up and backstabbed him. So, for future notice. Now right here, we've got a Balder soldier. I don't know what he's doing in this area, because they don't belong in this area. But, oh well. I don't know. That's just another player. I don't know what he was doing, though. Some roleplay PvP, I suppose. If it makes him happy. And again, we've got this guy doing his pyromancies. And I decided to try a little something different. I actually use Havels Greatshield and the Partisan, which is another underused weapon. Really the most underused spear, in my opinion. I don't really know why. It's got decent damage for, you know, a spear. And it's got that sweeping attack, which... really the only other spear that has one is the Silver Knight spear. And he got me with a flag stab or something. I don't know what was going on with that. And he tries to get me with a wake up, great combustion, but my shield was up in time, so it's all good. Now, this spear, I don't know, I like it, but I'd like it if it had longer reach. I guess that's why it's not very commonly seen, because it doesn't have long reach. But that attack that it's got is so useful. So, I don't know. I guess I sort of have mixed feelings about it. And actually, I learned something before I was recording with this. I learned that the Balder side swords R2, its strong attack, its thrusting attack, has a longer reach than the pike. And that's just not right. That is just not right. It's got a longer reach than the pike, and I know that because I was standing just out of range for the person with the pike to hit me, but I hit them. And we were like dead on with each other. It was just out of range. I don't even know how that makes sense by any means. But, oh well. Don't know what you're doing, FromSoft. Don't know what you're doing. So we've got this guy, he's got his washing pole, he's got his pyromancy flame, dressed like Marvelous Chester. And just like Marvelous Chester, he gets taken down. And I start spamming the Lloyd's Talismans at the end because, you know, he healed in the middle of the fight, so... oh well. Now, this buff is really... from the beginning of the video, that message that I got a few of them that were like that. Like, what was that? What are you doing? How did you do that? It's really probably one of the rarest buffs in the game, next to Flash Sweat, which is probably definitely the rarest, unless, you know, you're planning on fighting someone who is known to use pyromancies, like Dark Souls Mind Eye. Yeah. If I knew I would be fighting him, I would have Flash Sweat on me at all times. Just without a fail, I'd have that on me just in case. Because I don't... his pyromancies, I just don't. I just don't even. I just can't talk, that's what it is. I don't know. So, that's just my opinion on it. It's really an uncommon buff. It's really good, and it's really underused. Now this guy right here, his strategy is to use pursuers, run at you, past you, so that you turn around, and then all the pursuers hit you in the back, which stun you, and then you start spamming R1 in your face. Now that's an extremely effective and annoying strategy. Oh my god. Like, really? The only way you can defend against that is to just keep backing up until everything wears off. But man, that is so annoying. Just so annoying. But it's effective. Which, you know, if it's effective, you really can't say anything too bad about it, because it works for him. It works for him. So, I don't know. So we've got some gankers. They were probably just on their way to kill the Moonlight Butterfly, and I interrupted them. But, oh well. That's my job. I'm a Dark Wraith. So, I was wondering what this guy was doing, and I guess I finally find out. He's just waiting there till I do something he doesn't like, which would be that backstab, and he gets me back for it. So we've got this guy again with his pursuers, and I do exactly what I just said the best strategy would be. And I don't know what was going on with my shield here. I kept putting it back up and it just kept getting knocked back down. I don't even know. So I tried to use that strategy I mentioned, but it just went wrong. And we've got him again. And actually this is the last fight in the video. I'll just let you all see how it works out. I don't really have much else to say other than this buff is awesome. And other than that, I'll see you all later. Thank you for watching.